All right. Welcome back. Back already. Shout out to ABQ Girl in the house and everyone else. I am back already for the second half of today's lesson, I guess you could call it. And I want to deal with diseases, infections, zoonotic diseases, spillover, viruses, and stuff like that. Because I've been looking into it again. Y'all know I've been checking this stuff out for years. And I was getting upset at how they ignore the dog culture as if it doesn't play a role at all. As if 80 million people exchanging bodily fluids with 80 million dogs has nothing to do with any of the zoonotic diseases that go through the human family. I don't buy that. How unreasonable is that? Doesn't that sound unreasonable? So yes, let's get into it. Shout out to Bennett Tan. Yeah, this is the second live stream. I do this sometimes. Oh yeah. Now I found the most simple video I could. Okay, so this video is very simple and I wanted it to be. And it's very short. So let's get started. It's explaining what a spillover is.
Over the course of human history, viruses have frequently been transmitted from animals to humans, at least since the start of animal domestication, dating back 10,000 years. This relationship has brought mutual benefits, but it is increasingly threatened by interventions that fail to recognize...
Now wait a minute, I'm sorry. I gotta stop it already. I'm sorry. I gotta stop it. Some of you know I'm a history nerd. And I just wanted to point out that while the Egyptians may have domesticated farm life or farm animals for whatever, I don't believe they were eating them. Many scientists don't believe they were eating them. They ran studies on those mummies. They found no traces of cancer in any of them. None. Do your research. Many historians believe the ancient Egyptians were vegan. They did not eat meat at all, which is very believable when you look at how they deified animals. Highly unlikely that they had a system of slaughtering those same animals as well.
Start of animal domestication, dating back 10,000 years. This relationship has brought mutual benefits, but it is increasingly threatened by interventions that fail to recognize the need to respect ecosystems.
Now, wait a minute. People, look, listen. I don't buy this ecosystem narrative. That's just my personal opinion. I don't believe it plays a major role in zoonotic diseases. You know, because we are very thorough at separating ourselves from the earth, from the soil, which is said to be infected with whatever diseases you're talking about, parasites, whatever. We create ground. We build a ground which separates us, and we put a lot of padding and separation between the ground, houses in the ground. We're not just walking barefoot out here. It's not like, you know, we run into an area, run the animals out. We run around barefoot, coming into contact with the straight soil. It sounds good. This might be more applicable to primitive man, but I don't buy this as a major role in the spread of zoonotic diseases.
We now know that over 2/3 of human viruses are zoonotic and emerge in humans as a consequence of a process named spillover. Spillover is literally...
I hope that accent isn't too tight or isn't too thick, because I understand her pretty well. I hope you do too, because it's a pretty good video.
Literally the transmission of a virus. Human viruses are zoonotic and emerge in humans as a consequence of a process named spillover. Spillover is literally the transmission of a virus from one reservoir species, in which it habitually circulates, to a new host species, in which it can die or adapt and possibly even trigger an epidemic. Examples include SARS-CoV-2, Ebola, HIV, measles, and seasonal flu viruses.
Seasonal flu viruses. Now, spillover is when a disease or virus that normally circulates throughout an animal population makes a jump from the animal population to humans. Now that's a spillover. And they just included seasonal flu. Did y'all know that? I hope everybody knew that. The flu that we catch every year is zoonotic. It originated in animals. That's why I say we have no idea how these things are well, we do have an idea. We know full well they're making the information public. We need to demand a dog-free, pet-free island, all of that. We have to do this and experiment in ourselves so we can fully understand how this impacts our health. All right, so we know what a spillover is.
HIV, measles, and seasonal flu viruses. The jump from an animal to a human requires 3 distinct phases: contact, infection, and transmission.
Contact, infection, transmission. Now, infection means nothing if there's no contact. Without contact, can there be transmission without contact? Even if it's through vector, that's contact. That infected blood inside that mosquito is making contact with your blood. But you can't ignore dogs when you're talking about contact. When you have millions of people literally exchanging body fluids, saliva with dogs. And dogs, again, are like vacuum cleaners. How can you ignore these things? If you talk about zoonotic diseases, the main thing you need to talk about is dogs. Dogs should be at the center of that discussion.
Contact, infection, and transmission. Contact between individuals of the 2 species, donor and recipient, generally takes place by chance. She said it generally takes place by chance. Ain't that what she said? Let's turn the captions on. Generally takes place by chance. Their contact with dogs don't take place by chance. Okay, let's be clear about that. Donor and recipient generally takes place by chance.
Now, I have to point that out because contact between humans and a wild animal that takes place by chance, that's very rare. So again, probably not a big driver in zoonotic diseases. But you, on a daily basis, exchanging body fluids with a dog, now that might be a major driver of zoonotic diseases. You exchanging body fluids with the Earth's only vacuum cleaner. Okay, nose always planted to the ground. Do you know why they do that? Why do you think they do that? It's because birds constantly crap on the ground. And if they smell it, they're going to lick it. Don't they say flu comes from birds too? So you got the Earth's vacuum cleaner. I told you that thing, that's the number one way to transmit any and everything from any and everything. This thing actually comes into contact with waste and excrement, bodily excretions of several animals. Several. And they're attracted to that. When they smell the waste from other animals, they eat it. You're not going to sit there and tell me that people exchanging bodily fluids with a creature like that doesn't play any role in the spread of zoonotic diseases among humans. That need to be talked about as possibly the number one spreader of zoonotic diseases among humans. I don't know what kind of discussions you doctors and so-called professionals having behind closed doors, but if you ain't talking about this, you ain't talking about nothing. You ain't that professional.
Viruses continuously circulate in nature.
Let me back that up.
Of the two species, donor and recipient, generally takes place by chance. Viruses continuously circulate in nature, but only very few come into contact with the right host. For transmission to occur, the virus must have the right key.
Here, this is the dangerous part. It's the dangerous part of this stream. Pay close attention to this right here. The virus, in order to infect you, it must have the right key.
Only very few come into contact with the right host. For transmission to occur, the virus must have the right key, or rather, a surface structure allowing it to enter the host cells.
Has to have a surface structure. The surface of it has to be structured in a way so it can attach itself to our cells.
The closer the hosts are genetically, the greater the likelihood that they have similar locks, facilitating entry. Otherwise, the virus must change through frequent genetic mutations.
There you go. So you hear these people talking about how all these diseases, these germs, bacteria, and whatnot that dogs have, they can't be transmitted to humans. Maybe not right now, but after a while.
It is as though, by trial and error, the virus eventually finds the key able to force receptors of the host.
Eventually, it will find the right key to force receptors of the host. So you exchanging bodily fluids with this thing on a daily basis, and you stick to the same creature. It's all dog viruses, dog bugs, bacteria, parasites. So even when you get a different dog, you dealing with the same diseases, viruses, bacteria, and parasites. So they're still having a long time to figure you out, to find the right key. Who knows how many times this has happened as a result of coming into contact with dogs. This dog culture, I personally suspect, is the number one driver of zoonotic diseases throughout the human population. This dangerous stuff right here. This ain't nothing to play with. This is why I separated myself. I don't go inside the home of people. You got these mutants inside. No, I'm not coming in your home. I'm not touching nothing. You touch anything. I'm not touching nothing you touch. I sanitize everything before I touch it. I'm not going to be a part of this nasty world that y'all have created by living with dogs and being lovers with dogs. Well, that's your intimate partner and you nasty weirdo exchanging body fluids with this thing. Out of respect for your own existence, you need to not do that.
Virus must change through frequent genetic mutations. It is as though, by trial and error, the virus eventually finds the key able to force receptors.
People, these things should be banned for this reason alone right here. Can y'all see this? I know you can hear it. They should be banned for that right there. With this increase in awareness of zoonotic diseases and steps, protocols to reduce zoonotic diseases, minimize them, right? Keep them in check. In this era, this is one thing we need to be doing. With dogs, cats. Listen, when we're talking about zoonotic diseases, we're talking about it all animals. Let's get that clear. We just don't know what these animals are passing to us. We don't. But one thing I do know, one thing I'll add to that, is that we know for a fact that dogs are extremely dirty, extremely unclean. They're unusually unclean. They are extremely nasty, filthy, disease-ridden. There are far too many parasites and infections that only infect dogs. They have no sense of hygiene. Everybody, this is a scientific fact. If there's one animal you don't need to be exchanging body fluids with, it's the nastiest of all so-called animals. And they're filthier, more dangerous, disease-ridden than other animals because they're not real animals. So this is a suicidal game. I have no doubt at all, people, that the bubonic plague, the black plague, my personal belief, not going to tell me dogs had nothing to do with that. Oh, it was the fleas. Yeah. I guess the dogs had no fleas. Fleas just infected rats, right? People, there's a long history of them lying and concealing vital information about dogs. We need to understand that.
Trial and error, the virus eventually finds the key able to force receptors of the host. The contact phase is followed by the infection phase. The virus must first use the host cell's internal structures to replicate.
Okay, that's enough of that. We get it. Now I want to show you this other. This is a problem. It's a big problem. Y'all remember the UN predicted a rise in zoonotic diseases. How? How'd you predict that? There's this one video that has a neat little chart on it. Where is that? Let's see if I can find it. How many of y'all aware that zoonotic diseases in general?
In May of 1993, a group of deer mice living in drought-stricken four corners.
Sorry about that.
From Ebola to...
Sorry about that. This outbreak, or these outbreaks of zoonotic diseases. Look at this. Check this out.
Not always be this lucky in containing a zoonotic disease outbreak. In just the last 30 years, the world has witnessed a rapid increase in zoonotic disease spillovers, and today, there are over 200 of them, trying to contain and fight every zoonotic disease individually.
Now, you see that? It says Zika. They're pointing out the outbreaks. They're pinpointing the outbreaks. Now watch this. You see that? Say 1960 right here.
Would be virtually impossible. And since many scientists are predicting a continued increase in...
This one says COVID-19, MERS, H1N1, SARS. Notice how they started to pop up at the exact same time when dog ownership increased at almost the exact rate. Dog ownership between 1960 and 2020, people, has probably grown 300-400 times, maybe more. It's like dramatic, extremely dramatic. But we're supposed to ignore that. And we're supposed to instead believe that these diseases strictly, exclusively came from other animals. Dogs had nothing to do with any of them. Okay.
Global zoonotic disease spillovers over the coming years, now is a good time to answer two important questions. Why has there been an explosion of zoonotic disease in recent years? And is there any way we can reduce the number of zoonotic disease spillovers? To answer both these questions, we need to know how zoonotic spillover occurs.
No. People, y'all know how this video unfolds. You don't even need to watch it. You know they're going to ignore dogs. They're not going to mention dog ownership or dog culture at all. Even though that's the only animal people exchange bodily fluids with every single day of their life. And that's the, saliva, dog saliva, right? The things contained in dog saliva, it changes. One day it might eat excrement from this animal, next day from that animal. Next day it might eat a carcass, might eat something, vomit. Okay? So basically, having a dog, it maximizes the chances that you'll contract a zoonotic disease. Maximizes it. Because if one thing don't work, the dog will try another. Dangerous game. But we only supposed to focus on camels and prairie dogs and, wild animals that we never come into contact with. The only way we come into contact with all these other animals is when that dog has come into contact with those animals. And then come right back in the house and lick you in the face. Okay?
We'll get through the worst of this, hopefully without millions of human deaths. Once we get through the worst of this, are we done with the problem of emerging viruses? No. There will be another one coming, and then another one after that.
Climate and infectious disease.
Why? Like, what? Why? Who says that that's the way it naturally is? I don't buy that. We don't have to accept that this is a normal process for zoonotic diseases to just pop up among humans and really at an increased rate. Right? We just saw the chart. So we're just supposed to accept it. You mean our lifestyle has nothing? Look at how drastically our lifestyles have changed between 1960 and today, people. But they never touch on the change of lifestyle. The only thing they want to talk about is deforestation. Oh, we're moving into a new habitat. Stop that. Stop with that. People, these are lies.
And then another one after that.
Climate and infectious disease have been closely linked throughout.
Climate infectious, just stop. Stop. These diseases are not popping up because of a change in climate. Wow. We just supposed to accept a change in climate? Even though the outbreaks have skyrocketed between 1960 and now, we just supposed to accept, oh, it's just changing climate. Shut up. Get out of here. This sounds like a group of people covering up for dogs. Doesn't it?
Their entire existence.
When we're living in the midst of a crisis like this, it's very easy to focus on the problems which are right in front of our face and not to take the longer view.
Unfortunately, an event like this is something scientists have been warning about for literally decades. About 7 or 8 out of
Why? Why have scientists been warning about a rise in zoonotic diseases? Why did the UN predict a rise? People, Google that. Just Google rise in zoonotic diseases. There's an endless number of articles where this entity, that entity, is predicting a rise in zoonotic diseases. Is this prediction, does it not have anything to do with our lifestyle? You just want to keep feeding us, oh, it's a deforestation, and we're moving into animals' habitat and we're forcing them out. Stop. We produce to secure boundaries between ourselves and the soil that these animals live on, defecate on, and so forth. We ain't walking through new habitat barefoot. Get out of here. Am I missing something? Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I don't understand. Now, yeah, some things can float through the air and we can inhale it. I get that. But that can happen without you tearing down a forest. Right? What in the world? My screen shows that this video has gotten 199 likes. That's not even possible. Somebody launch a robot in here or something? Can y'all see that? It says video got 199 likes. It's only like 60 people in here. What is that? Thanks anyway. Thanks for the likes, people. Yeah, we need to spread this because this is important, man. I suspect they're predicting a rise in zoonotic diseases because they see the skyrocketing of people exchanging body fluids with these nasty, filthy dogs. The ownership of dogs has skyrocketed, people, between 1960 and right now. Like on an unbelievable scale. Don't tell me that has nothing to do with it.
10 new infectious diseases are zoonotic diseases, meaning they start in the animal world and transmit into the human environment once in a blue moon. But that blue moon is occurring more and more frequently in recent decades.
Why? Why is it occurring more frequently in recent decades? She said recent decades, people. What else has skyrocketed in recent decades? But yet it has nothing to do with the increase in zoonotic diseases? That don't add up, man.
10 years ago, when I was researching my book Spillover, I asked scientists to describe the next pandemic. That's when I started hearing about coronaviruses in particular. In January, when I heard the words novel coronavirus in connection with this event in Wuhan, I said, oh my God, here we go. This could be the next big one.
Of course, there have been literally thousands of reports on COVID, but many of those have focused on the response. We're looking at rather more fundamental things. Why and where did this pandemic come in the first place? And what, if anything, can we do about it?
In recent
Listen, man. Listen to this guy. Listen to this right here.
decades, there has been a drumbeat of spillovers of dangerous new viruses from wild animals. Machupo virus.
Look at this. Let's go full screen. Pay close attention to this, please.
Bolivia, 1961. Marburg virus, 1967. Ebola itself first appears in 1976. AIDS, HIV, first recognized in 1981. 1994. Hendra virus in Australia.
So there's really no break. There's really no break in these outbreaks. They're constant. They're constant. They're nonstop. What else is constant and nonstop? We're not bogarting our way into forests at that higher rate. You are acquiring dogs at that higher rate. Ah, man, I'm not buying this. No. People, I don't trust nobody. Haven't we learned that? You can't trust anybody who never mentions dogs. That's always their way of trying to cover up for dogs. You know? You can come off as unbiased if you at least point to dogs in some way. They don't even mention them. Please.
Humans have been expanding our cities.
Oh, here we go. Humans, we've been expanding our cities. Stop.
In Australia,
As humans have been expanding our cities and towns into areas that were previously wildland, we're coming into closer contact with animals. When human and animal populations are both stressed, that kind of puts us and them together in a pressure cooker environment as far as disease transmission is concerned.
1997, avian influenza. 1998, Nipah virus in Malaysia. 2003, the original SARS.
People, I hate to say this, but we don't know the true origin of all of these different viruses. We don't. They still haven't figured out exactly where the most recent viruses came from. Okay? We're dealing with people who specialize in keeping certain information from the public. We all know that. So I wouldn't trust that. That's the perfect environment for them to cover up something that got to do with these nasty mutants that over half the population exchanging bodily fluids with. But we supposed to believe has nothing to do with all these outbreaks.
2012, MERS, another coronavirus.
Man, I don't know how many of you are pet owners or whatever, or you got sinus issues. Do y'all work with dog owners? I've noticed a lot of dog owners, they always coughing and sniffling, always got real serious sinus issues. They're always sick, very sickly people. They're coughing and sneezing and hacking, and they always got some type of crazy issue. Then you look at them, they always got some skin issue. Some nasty rash, bumps, they're breaking out here, breaking out there. They got chafed skin, patches of sores and blisters and ulcers all over their face and whatnot. Think about that, man. Look at these people. And then look at all these outbreaks of diseases. The sickliest people in society is these dog owners. But, we're supposed to believe that their lifestyle has nothing to do with diseases running rampant. Zoonotic diseases, mind you, running rampant through the human population. Okay.
2015 Zika virus, and on and on and on it goes. And now we have COVID-19.
One of the key findings from our report is what we call 7 deadly drivers of pandemics.
Oh, 7 deadly drivers of pandemics. Okay, here we go. Maybe we will get clarity right now.
Firstly, increasing human demand for animal protein.
Okay, so the increase in the demand for meat. Okay.
And this is leading to unsustainable agricultural intensification. This is being accompanied by increased use and exploitation of wildlife.
Okay. Okay.
Of the unsustainable utilization of natural resources. The 5th deadly driver is increased travel and transportation, which is moving pathogens around.
Okay. So dogs don't move pathogens around. They don't move bacteria, virus, parasites around. They're the chief movers of all these things. Come on, man. Stop this. Stop this. Increased transportation. Oh, how convenient. You have a list that just doesn't include dogs. Okay? Not the increase, the drastic increase in dog ownership of the nastiest, most disease-ridden. Listen, historically, dogs have a reputation of being the spreaders of diseases, deadly diseases. And to this day, they hold that reputation. The primary transmitters of rabies, almost 100% of rabies cases in people, they were bitten by a dog. Okay, but they have nothing to do with zoonotic diseases. You know, you see what I mean? So they treat dogs like they're just angels. Oh, they're blameless. You can't blame anything on them. Now, you can't hide a physical attack. And we see how these things attack people nonstop. But you can hide the transmission of diseases. And we're supposed to rely on the scientists and experts to let us know, to inform us if these nasty things spread a bunch of diseases to us. And they don't even mention dogs at all. Do y'all really trust that? I don't trust that.
And this is leading to unsustainable agricultural intensification. This is being accompanied by increased use and exploitation of wildlife, an accompaniment of the unsustainable utilization of natural resources. The fifth deadly driver is increased travel and transportation, which is moving pathogens around. The sixth is the changes in food supply.
Changes in food supply. We at number 6 already. She only said 7 drivers of pandemics. We at number 6 already. And she's still babbling changes in food supply. Ain't nothing changing like that. And what are you talking about anyways?
And then finally, climate change.
Oh, stop. Climate change. All of these things have something to do with zoonotic diseases running through humans, but dogs have nothing to do with it. That's what we're supposed to believe.
Facilitator as well as a driver.
We are very sensitive to our environmental conditions, and so are the creatures that carry.
See, it sounds like they're trying to cover for dogs. That's what it sounds like to me. I'm sorry. They're trying too hard to completely ignore dogs. Haven't said nothing about dogs yet. As nasty and disease-ridden as dogs are, and over half the population here in the United States living with them all in their bed, exchanging bodily fluids with them on a daily basis, they just have nothing to do with zoonotic diseases. Okay? If you believe that, hey, knock yourself out.
The diseases that can transmit to us, whether they're animals out in the wild.
See how they always do this? They always want to put some other animal in your face. Huh? That's how they drill it into your psyche. To get you to not even think about dogs. They don't mention dogs. They don't show dogs. And instead, they mention and show other animals. Oh, how many? Now, this would make sense if over 50% of homes in America had bats in their home that they kiss and allow to lick all over them every day, exchanging bodily fluids with. Then how much of a factor do you think that would play in the transmission of zoonotic diseases among humans if that were the case? Oh, that's all you'd be talking about then. Get them bats out your house. All you experts, y'all get up on TV and all you talk about is the bats. Well, it's the bats. Over 50% of American households got bats. They're exchanging bodily fluids with them. But because it's dogs and not bats, they say nothing about dogs. Nothing. The only people who would talk about or bring dogs up, mention dogs, is people who are not dog lovers. That's why only people who are anti-dog can be dog experts on dogs. Everybody else is just a bunch of liars.
That incubate diseases that can occasionally cross over and become zoonotic disease for us, or whether they're vectors like mosquitoes and other insects.
No, the vector is the dog. The dog is all kinds of things. Direct contact, vector. Yeah, a dog will bring foreign blood into your house too. They'll eat carcasses, they eat anything. Oh, but you don't mention dogs. Okay.
Spread easily with changing climate conditions.
There are many, many, many viruses out there still living in the wild animals in our diverse ecosystems. And unless we greatly restrain ourselves and learn from this event, we will be exposing ourselves to more new viruses.
Learn from this event? What event you talking about? He lost me. Let's back that up. I'm sorry. Maybe I missed it.
Spread easily with changing climate conditions.
There are many, many, many viruses out there still living in the wild animals in our diverse ecosystems. And unless we greatly restrain ourselves and learn from this event, we will be exposing ourselves to more new viruses. Okay. But if you ask me, you're exposing yourself to more and new viruses by acquiring dogs. Literally, land sweepers, excrement sweepers, vomit sweepers. Dogs are only attracted to things that are filthy, stinking, rotten, full of germs, bacteria. They don't try to eat, well, they'll eat anything, but they prefer the stinkiest, nastiest. These are land vacuum cleaners, filth vacuum cleaners. And y'all exchange body fluids, saliva with, and many of you, you know what you do with these things. You're nasty. So we just have to tolerate like a half human, half dog population of people. I mean, let's face it. These dog nutters, their whole body has been contaminated to the point where there's too much of them that's like a dog. Okay, they're full of dog parasites. Who knows how the dog parasites are reconfiguring their insides? I'm sure those parasites are impairing their thought process, messing with their brain, causing them to be numb to danger and things like that, just like they do to other animals. Okay, of course, the scientists wouldn't tell you that. But who knows how dogs are affecting these people's bodies? Then they're going out and exchanging body fluids with other people. And y'all wonder, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I feel sorry for humans in general. This does not sound good. I mean, I can't help but have a grim outlook on the future of humans if we stay on this path. Look at how fast these zoonotic outbreaks are happening. And really, people are acquiring more dogs at the same time? Y'all better wake up. These are exactly probably the people that's killing us.
If you can prevent the disease in the animal, and if you can prevent the disease in the environment, it will never get to the person. And that's...
Prevent the disease in the environment? We can't do that. We go around preventing diseases from appearing in an environment. What are you talking about? How are you supposed to do that? How you going to find a disease in the environment? What are you talking about? And we cannot govern or police the body of every single animal out here on the planet. Shut up. That's unrealistic talk you talking there. Shut up. I'm sick of talk that just don't make sense at all. It's unrealistic. We can't control the disease environment. you can control not bringing a flipping dog in your house and exchanging body fluids with it, you nasty freak. We doing all this talking, showboating, all this talking. They're doing all this talking to dance around that simple fact. They need to just stop being nasty, being intimate with dogs. Coming up with all this flamboyant nonsense, blaming everybody and everything else. Oh, it's the changing climate. Oh, look at it used to be a forest. As advanced as we are, they're doing all this babbling to avoid talking about dogs. I'm telling you, it's structured into, it is structured into academia. It's in the educational system itself to sidestep dogs and the negative impact they have on us. You gotta conceal that information. You have to. Listen to this woman. Let me stop this here. Wait a minute. Now, listen to this question and listen to her answer. Back that up.
Them in terms of transmission between animals and humans or the other way around.
What are the most common zoonotic diseases?
Well, to be honest, probably the most common, something that we underappreciate, are probably the bacteria that carry antibiotic resistance gene determinants. Those are probably the ones that originated in a way from a zoonotic setting.
Antibiotic resistant infections are the most common. So the most common are the ones that are resistant to antibiotics. So if you're infected, antibiotics won't help you. So this is not a game. This is not something we need to be playing with. Now, haven't they been talking about different variations of this virus right here? How it can mutate and all this kind of stuff. Well, this is probably not the only virus that can mutate. Probably not the only infection. So what I'm saying, we don't know what we're doing to ourselves. So this is a state of emergency to me. I don't like the way these so-called professionals ignore dogs, the role that dogs play in not only the spread of these outbreaks and pandemics, but zoonotic diseases in general. They've told you 3 out of 4 new infectious diseases in humans are zoonotic. The CDC says that. Everybody says that. Every source. 3 out of every 4 come from animals to humans. How you think that's happening? When 60% of the population exchanging bodily fluids with dogs. Nasty, nasty, nasty. Look in the mirror. You are nasty. You don't have to be. You can change. Get rid of that nasty, worthless mutt, and everything will be okay. So I had to put that out there. People, it's not even possible. I don't think it's possible for dogs to not play a role in the spread of zoonotic diseases. Is it even possible? There's no way, people. They're the filthiest, most disease-ridden, and they're the most popular. But they have nothing to do with the spread of zoonotic diseases. Really? Okay, so what does? Some weird, obscure animal that nobody's ever seen and never does see, but somehow they infected us. Notice how they get us with that. They'll blame some creature we've never even seen before. Definitely never came into contact with. Oh, that animal passed it to us. Really? Okay, how? Because even if that's true, that transmitter had to have been the dog. We're not going out here bothering these wild animals, but your dumb dog is going out there eating the excrement from those animals. So this is a shame. Our professionals, they're not telling us everything. Everything is political. All information is political. It's a dangerous world you're living in right now, where truth just cannot be told to you. Everything is a lie, right? Scrutinize, hold everything up to scrutiny. Everything that you hear from everybody, including me. This is not the time to just be willy-nilly listening to people and believing everything somebody says. Read between the lines. These people are hiding information from us. Important information about our health and how it's impacted. I read this article. Let me see if I can find it. Let me pull this up right now. I was reading this the other day. Human cells live. And I believe this. Human cells are designed to live for about 120 years. A lot of people, a lot of experts believe we are well under the maximum average lifespan. People dying at 65, 75. It's premature. I suspect it's premature. And it's hard for me to believe that dogs have nothing to do with our reduced average lifespan. It's hard for me to believe that. I understand we eat a lot of meat, and that probably plays a big role in the spread of zoonotic diseases. I get that. But dogs don't help. As a matter of fact, I suspect dogs probably play a larger role than meat. Because at least with the meat, you burn it. Okay? You burn it. You're killing many of the bacteria and parasites. It would be different if you was cooking that whole dog. Huh? If you cranked up the temperature on that mutt to over 200 degrees and fried it, yeah, then it kills some of the parasites and whatnot. The dog won't be as dangerous to your health, as hazardous to your health as it is now. So I would argue that the meat is a little safer, unless you're eating it rare. It's a lot of people do. But even in those cases, I think the worst it comes from is like salmonella. You get stomach illness, start throwing up, maybe get diarrhea or something like that. When it comes to these crazy infections, man, listen, this is a very unnatural lifestyle. To live with a dog as if it's a human being and exchange body fluids with it. And we know what some of these people are doing. It should be illegal for them to come into physical contact with other people in the world. Okay? We need our own island, or they need their own island. There needs to be separation. Lord, turn the community into a toilet, like literally. So this is ground zero. Nowhere to go but up. So I'm going to just enjoy the ride. Okay, because we will win. There's nowhere else to go. It's not a question whether or not this crusade will be successful. There's nothing else to do. My goodness. Do not ignore dogs. Shout out to everybody able to join me for this brief live stream, part 2. And I hope to have you back on the next as we continue with this crusade.